become the first real test of the major Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. President-elect Trump is now asking the Supreme Court to block sentencing in his New York hush money case. Now, in the filing today, Trump's lawyers writing in part, this court should enter an immediate stay of further proceedings in the New York trial court to prevent grave injustice and harm to the institution of the presidency. Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Roach joins me now to talk about it. Khalif, Trump's lawyers here, they're arguing that this case should be dropped because Trump is protected by the presidential immunity that was granted by the Supreme Court.
They're arguing that, among other things. So what I love about cases that go before the Supreme Court, and this is something they teach you in law school, you have to do something called write the question presented. You're telling the court exactly what you're asking them. Most of the time in these briefs on lower courts, it's kind of confusing what you're asking the court, and it's kind of confusing what you're asking them to do. At the Supreme Court level, it's not confusing at all. You specifically say, here's the question presented, here's the list of things we want you to address, and then there'll be 100 pages explaining what. So here you got the president. Trump is entitled to automatic stay of this case because the court on the lower level violated the Presidential Immunity Act. The second one is whether the trial court's admission of that information was a violation of that, and whether a president that's sitting president is completely and absolutely immune from criminal prosecution. And so, yes, they list those three things, but specifically, if you're looking at the trial court, they have rationale and reasons as to why they believe the trial court erred. They list things where he was tweeting from the official presidential social media account, where he was making official remarks when he was in the office from the Oval Office. Those things were used during his trial. The court is saying that, his team is saying, if you use those things during trial, you violated what the Supreme Court said you're not allowed to do. And the crazy part is that the timing of this is impeccable, because in the first sentence they say he shouldn't be allowed to be sentenced because now he's kind of in a quasi-presidential position is what they argue. He's not sworn in yet, but he's already been certified. Because he's already been certified, we want you to tell us if he should even be allowed to be prosecuted at all.
Some of the federal cases against President-elect Trump, they've already been dropped because of that ruling, but they're state charges.
These are the only ones that are going to, that's went to trial. You had the two federal cases, you had the state case in Georgia, and you had this one. The only argument that because I buy most of his team's argument, the only argument that I think is going to be a hard one to prove is point 3, saying can a president that's sitting be absolutely immune because A, he's not sitting, and then they talk about can he be prosecuted? Well, this case is already over. He just needs to be sentenced. He's been prosecuted and convicted. Now it just needs to be sentenced. So I think that the justices, once they hear this, I think question 3 will be answered that, yes, he can go forward and be sentenced. I think
they say he's not going to serve jail time. Judge Juan Marchand said that.
The judge already said he won't serve jail time, but I think that the court will say that they got this wrong on the lower court, that his attorneys did an excellent job of making sure that they raised the question on appeal. They raised it a number of times so that it was preserved. So that even if the judge disagrees with what I'm saying, I can go and appeal it. Excellent lawyering, because if they didn't do it then, they wouldn't be able to raise this appeal today.
All right, Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Roach. We'll see what happens on Friday when that sentencing is going to happen. It looks like as of this
as of today.
As of today.
We will see.
All right, thanks. Well.